Fortnite Season 4 is nearly 50% complete already, and despite the live event this season being confirmed prior to its release, even though we have no details about what's going to be going down exactly in it, one thing is clear, and perhaps even being confirmed by Fortnite now, which we're going to be discussing in today's video, Fortnite Chapter 4. Buckle up, strap in, and make sure you're sticking around and watching the full video today, because this is definitely one you won't want to miss. If you want to be an absolute legend and go the extra mile, it would be greatly appreciated. Also, if you could enter code FM1, one of the shortest codes inside the Fortnite item shop. And hey, if you're one of the 70% that aren't subscribed already, make sure to hit the big red button, because things are about to get crazy in the world of Fortnite that you won't want to miss on this channel. But with all that said, now enough messing around, let's dive into how Epic Games have confirmed Chapter 4, so make sure of course you don't go anywhere.
I'm sitting on my back.
Just before we dive into the juicy intel, I need to tell you guys about Yahaha, who are kindly sponsoring today's video. Yahaha is a brand new UGC, user-generated content creation platform for 3D multiplayer interactive experience. I know many of you love Fortnite creative, well let's just say this is even better, as with Yahaha, anyone can create and publish their virtual experiences, which couldn't be simpler considering you don't need any prior coding or server experience, and you can simply use components and smart assets in Yahaha, millions of them, to make your own dream games. The best part about all of this is you can get all of your friends involved and potentially meet new ones, as Yahaha supports multiplayer, playing one game simultaneously in one template or one game, which of course either allows you to invite your friends or meet new ones anytime in countless immersive 3D spaces and like-minded communities. You're literally missing out if you don't click the link at the top of the video description down below or in the pinned comment to download Yahaha before you leave today's video for countless and unique immersive 3D universe experiences. So for our first point today, to set the grounds for the video before we dive into the recent things that Epic Games could very well have confirmed Fortnite Chapter 4 through, rewinding the clock of where the idea of Fortnite Chapter 4 even originated from, with us only being in Season 4 of the current chapter. It seems puzzling to many considering Chapter 1 had 10 seasons and Chapter 2 had 8, so to cut that duration of Chapter 2 in half already, many people don't want to believe it's what's going to be happening on December 5th, which is when what's happening next releases in Fortnite version 23.00. You may be puzzled at that date, December 5th, considering on the Battle Pass right now it states this season is going through until December 3rd, despite data miners not being able to say 100% right now if next season is going to be Chapter 3, Season 5 or Chapter 4 from looking at the coding specifically. Again, before we reveal how Epic Games are teasing this more so as days pass, or even kinda confirmed it, this length of downtime being 48 hours makes sense from a chapter transition standpoint only, as seasons typically end one day and start early in the next. Of course, if we refer back to the ending of Chapter 1, we were in the black hole for 48 hours, and then the same thing kinda happened as we transitioned from Chapter 2 Season 8 washing up onto the Chapter 3 island after it flipped. With us getting a whole new map in itself, of course this makes sense. It's not just seasonal map changes where a large proportion of the map we already have is shifted. And this also nicely ties onto our second point being, well, the leak of us already receiving a brand new map, which Epic Games actually messed up upon updating the game's coding. For those that haven't seen this leak already, pay close attention, considering this simple wording of playtest for a particular map that's been worked on. This code name in itself that only data miners can see randomly got changed one day to Asteria. The reason this is so important is because it lines up with the Greek mythology theme, of which these code names for the islands are, such as Chapter 1 being Apollo, Chapter 2 being Athena, and then Chapter 3 being Artemis. Here's where it gets even crazier, however, considering Artemis and Apollo were the sons of Asteria, and Asteria supposedly in Greek mythology actually transformed into an island, of which then Apollo and Artemis were born on. This perhaps could suggest we're going back in time for where Fortnite was born prior to even Apollo or the Chapter 1 map. However, for our third point, of course, we have to get there with the chapter ending event, which typically are the bigger live events than ones we see casually through transitions of seasons within a chapter. It should have already been obvious right now that on the island the chrome is spreading, despite the 0 point remaining intact, with the paradigm swimming into it and teleporting to a different reality. With the map changes prior to the season releasing again being predetermined, as currently when I'm recording we don't have a chrome over Greasy Grove or the tornado near it, but in the Battle Pass trailer it clearly showed this. And another reason we know this to be true is because Epic Games have confirmed that there's going to be 4 downtime updates this season indefinitely, and even next season going all the way up to 23.40. Typically, if nothing huge was going to be happening in terms of a chapter ending event or us transitioning to a new island, Epic Games simply wouldn't go this far in terms of their efforts. Despite the Herald finally appearing on the island, similarly to the Cube Queen in terms of her tasks, which we initially saw observing the reality tree in the Chapter 3 Season 3 trailer, although there's so many unanswered questions as to involving Jenna physically in Fortnite the game itself, despite being shown in the Fortnite x Marvel Zero War comics or introducing him to any form of Fortnite's lore. Perhaps this has been done intentionally, considering he's setting up the storyline or direction for Battle Royale to evolve starting next chapter, with Epic Games already working on what updates are going to be releasing, and with with them having to do this in advance to get a direction of where they want the game to go instead of just doing everything randomly. This still begs the question, moving on to the next point, or kind of backwards anyways, as to what's exactly going to be going down in this season's live event to end off the chapter potentially. Again, as previously mentioned, with the chrome spreading around the entire island eventually, as we know teased from the Battle Pass trailer, as we've already seen members of the Seven literally deteriorate into chrome or get consumed by it and then dissolve almost seemingly or don't exist anymore. With the Paradigm making her lucky escape, this begs the question, where was the Foundation, as he wasn't shown in this cinematic trailer at all? The Foundation, like other members of the Seven toward the end of last season, Chapter 3, Season 3, had his helmet somewhere on the island, but the location of it specifically makes more sense in terms of where he could be located on the island, despite the damage or changes made to the mighty monument or giant Foundation statue. Since Chapter 3 started, we also have never had a look inside what lies directly beneath this, being, well, a secret base that even the door leading to it cannot be consumed by the chrome that seems to be swallowing up the island. Could this imply the Foundation's in here planning something to make a giant comeback saving reality at the end of the season, with us seeing similar motives to how Chapter 2 ended with the Cube Queen spread in the sideways dimension or kind of surface over the entire island itself? Perhaps he anticipates this in advance, but on the Chapter 3 island with bigger consequences, such as when it reaches the Devourer's skull, perhaps reviving it with its healing properties, with us also having leaked a while ago that many have forgotten about a Catus Cave, not only implying a brand new POI surrounding this particular skull or excavated like area, but also another monster from the distant Roars found in the game's files. It's safe to say, with everybody wanting the Devourer to return since its appearance in the final showdown of Chapter 1 Season 9, this would now be the perfect time. And speaking of the chrome having healing like properties, hey, I mean the Clombo skull, if the chrome gets hit with this, perhaps we do see the return of Clombos, considering they have been updated so much in the game's coding since they were initially vaulted. Without getting too off track, onto our next point, however, speaking of the similarities between the Cube Queen and the Herald, despite this stemming across all areas of the characters, not just what they're doing right now in game, consuming the island in whatever they can produce to do so, with both characters having cosmetic descriptions surrounding them, both being coming soon skins about the end or the nothing approaching, with them also being not of this world characters arriving on the Fortnite island at random times. It's only now that these many coincidental similarities make full complete sense, as through the Byte Quests it's been revealed that the Herald is part of the last reality. For those that don't know, this is the same faction of which the Cube Queen is from, and with this being another character from this dimension, like Clombos that initially came onto the Fortnite island in Chapter 3 Season 1, as even the Herald and Clombos look similar with this floral-like structure around their necks. This could perhaps not only mean that when Clombos return their evil, as they're now going to be killable, being one of the things we perhaps have to eliminate like caretakers were in the Chapter 2 finale event of Season 8, and speaking of this in itself, what it showed at the very end, particularly to do with the last reality, perhaps the mothership of all motherships, as we saw in the sky, the Cradle, which has been confirmed the name of this through loading screens. Who knows, perhaps this is directly involved more so as a forefront, or we see it in the game of Fortnite again, but from a distance, considering this is the size comparison of the Fortnite island to a mothership and then the Cradle ship itself full of these golden cubes. Speaking of when we saw the Cradle ship for the first time in-game during the Chapter 2 finale event in Season 8 itself, this occurred on December 4th, 2021, and the next chapter, Chapter 3, or the one we're currently in, started the 5th of December 2021. Considering 23.00 being Chapter 4 as we speculate actually starts on December 5th, 2022, does this also confirm if it is Chapter 4 we're going to be getting yearly chapters? Despite all of the talk of the nothing approaching now being a forefront once again of Fortnite when this was initially discussed, obviously ending Chapter 2 via the Cube Queen's actions, for perhaps one of the most intriguing points of this video, if we refer back to a skin that was released at the start of Chapter 2, believe it or not, Season 1, which obviously came to the item shop but nobody ever took a second look at. As you can see, this unique looking Zero skin not only largely resembles the characteristics, textures, or movement of the 0 point, the more interesting thing about him is the description of the character being everything and nothing, and despite the nothing as we know being, well, all that remains or wants to be remained of the last reality, the black hole-like state, with the back bling of this character being, well, the black hole itself or a black hole, and the description obviously stating as previously mentioned everything and nothing, does this mean that the 0 point is, well, everything? Not only that, but what I've just mentioned simply in itself describing the cycle, this singular cosmetic set, basically what happens throughout the flow of Fortnite where we're constantly entering ending-like state and then being refreshed into a brand new, well, chapter due to the everything or the 0 point reconstructing the island. Moving on to our next point, another similarity between the Cube Queen and the Herald, despite the Herald's name literally meaning in itself that it's a sign that something is coming, perhaps in itself obviously implying, well, that the ending of this chapter is coming, considering the Nothing is set to consume everything. As both of these skins, the Cube Queen and, well, the Herald, are Fortnitemares skins, or the unlockable skin in the season particularly where Fortnitemares actually happens through, with the release date of the Herald skin unlockable for the first time in itself being November 3rd, 2022, specifically taking a look at some rewards free right now in-game over the Fortnitemares 2022 period, although we can't currently unlock the final one, being the harvesting tool, this chrome one right here, as the bonus goal rewards. The best thing about these, or most interesting perhaps, despite them looking really cool and obviously chrome-like complementing the theme of this season, is their descriptions again. As you can see, this glide is called Everything's End, and then we have to soar on wings of chrome, perhaps even implying, well, the appearance of flying animals that we're going to have to see so we don't get consumed in chrome in the live event itself. We then have Chrome Cage, the end of everything takes a little backbone, and finally the Unmaker, stop the flow of reality, with Epic Games literally implying the ending of everything as we know it being the Fortnite Island, of course only meaning one thing can happen, a brand new chapter and island appears. Don't forget too, we haven't seen the second page of rewards revealed, which will be firstly in the 22.30 update going live very soon, which will be also added to the staging servers in the next few days. And based off the context, that the description of a lot of the Herald's cosmetics, not just the skin itself, but everything that comes on the first page being, well, in reference to the Nothing, it really wouldn't surprise me if there's more of this foreshadowing to the ending of this chapter portrayed in the description of page 2 cosmetics. Leave a like in today's video if you're excited and subscribe to the channel if you're new, considering we're going to be covering everything chapter 4 as soon as it is revealed. And speaking of other videos, make sure to interact with this one I picked out for you specifically on screen right now, but most importantly, hopefully I can catch you in that very next upload I do post on the channel.